Hello, good morning, good evening, good day from wherever that you are watching me from or you are watching this tutorial from. Okay, so in this section of this tutorial, I am going to teach you or remind you about a program's output, inputs, and variables. A program's output, its inputs, and variables. So first of all, as we learned in class, what is a program's output? A program's output is whatever thing you see on a computer's display, like on a monitor, a projector's display, or whatever thing that you see on a computer's desktop. So they said garbage in, garbage out. If you feed the computer with unnecessary things, you get unnecessary things. Whatever you feed the computer, that is the same thing it comes out with. So a computer's output is whatever thing you see on your PC screen. So all these are what computer's output. Then when we talk about the computer's input, the computer's input is whatever thing we feed the computer with or we feed the program with. So a program's input is whatever thing that goes into the program. So example, when you are filling an online form, you are being asked your name, maybe your email address, your telephone number, whatever thing you are required to provide for the form to be filled. So you are being asked and you key in those informations or those details. So whatever thing that you key in are the computer's input or the program's what input. And what do we term as variables? So when we talk about variables, we said that variables are storage locations in the memory of data. So we said that the CPU performs three functions or three processes or three cycles. What it does is that it fetches information, it decodes the information, then it does what it executes. So it fetches information, it decodes the information, and it executes. Where does the computer fetches the data from? So we said that the data is being stored on the computer's RAM. So it fetches the data from the computer's RAM into the CPU and it decodes, it performs its operations, whether addition, subtraction, multiplication, or whatever operation it wants to perform on that sort of data. Then, after the processes are done, then it executes the instruction, meaning that it displays the information on the computer screen or any output device for you to see the results of the data that was being fetched from the computer's memory. And before a computer will process the data, then the computer needs to store something. So if you feed the computer with something, then that something needs to be stored. When that something is stored, it is stored in a storage location. And those storage locations are what we call what? Variables. Those storage locations are what we call the variables. So computer program typically follows three steps. So it performs an input, which means that it receives an input from the user. Then it performs what processes on the input. That is when it decodes the data or the input it has received. Then it brings out information. That is the output produced on any sort of output device. Okay, so let us look at our pseudocode. So we said that we use pseudocode. We use a pseudocode to model a program. We said that when programmers are about to program or they are coming to code, this is what they do. They first of all design the program. So what tools does programmers use to design their program? So they use either the flowchart or they use the pseudocode to design their programs. And these are all algorithms. So that an algorithm is a step-by-step way of what solving a problem. So we use a pseudocode to write an algorithm that solves what a problem. So we use a pseudocode to mimic, or we use a pseudocode to model an actual what program. The pseudocode to model an actual program. So we said that in every language we have its syntax. And what are the syntax? A syntax is the rules that one must strictly follow in order to write something in a particular language. So you have to strictly follow the rules or the regulations. That is the syntax of the language. When we come into English language, so that the syntax is the grammar. When you commit a grammatical error, meaning that the language or whatever thing you have written or you are speaking is what is wrong. Okay, so that is the program's syntax. Then we said that in a language we have a keyword, and the keywords are the reserved words. They are the reserved words that are for us to give commands to what the program, or give commands to the computer. So we said that in pseudocode we have reserved words like display. So when you see display and you see something like display, meaning that you want to display something to the user. So we have something like display, we have something like input. So the input keywords helps you to do what? To take an input from the user. We have something like set. We have something like set. What does the set keyword do? The set keywords assigns a value into a variable. It helps us assign a value into a variable. So the set goes with the equal to operator. So when we use the equal sign over here, meaning that we are assigning something into what? Into something. Okay. Then we said that we have something like declare. Declare. So what does declare do? When we write the keyword declare, then we are telling the computer to allocate a storage location in the computer's RAM for us to store our data that we are going to feed the program with. That is what declare. Okay, so I think I have a question over here. Let us try to solve this question. So I have a question. This is the question, personal information. So design a program that displays the following information. So I am going to write a program using pseudocode to display these informations. So this program, one, I say your name. So it displays your name. Then two, your address with city, state, and what, and zip. That is this one. Then the other one also displays the telephone number, then your college major, So how are we going to write this using pseudocode? Let me begin from here. So we said that the display keywords help you to display something on your computer screen. So the program says that we should display our name. So how do we display our name? You start with the keyword display, and because your name is a string, we have variable data types. So data types, you said that we have the integer, we have the real, which are number data types, we have the string, we have the bool. When we talk about integer, you said that the integer takes only whole numbers, whether positive or negative, they are whole numbers without a decimal point. Then we said that the real takes both an integer number, a whole number, whether positive or negative, and a floating point numbers. Floating point numbers are the ones with the decimal point. So something like 1.0 is a real number. Something like 2.3 or 2.8 is a real number. Then something like one, only one is an integer. So these are what we term as what? Real numbers. Real numbers. Then when we talk about a string, then A string, when we talk about a string data type, then when we say that something like Kofi is a string because it's a series of characters. So Kofi is a string. Something like you are going. You are going is also what? A string. So these are what we term as what? Strings, because they are series of characters, not numbers. Series of characters. Whether with a symbol, with a full stop, or with anything, any symbol. They are series of what? Of characters. Those are what we call a what? A string. Okay, so let's go back to our question. So the question says we should display our name. So you start with, we said that an algorithm begins and it ends. So you start with the keyword begin. Sorry. You start with begin, meaning that the program should begin from there. Then they said that we should display our name. So display your name. My name is Ronald Summer. This is my name. So I display my name. And they should be in what? In quotation marks, because strings are always written in what? With quotation marks. So the double quotes, or whether in a language like Python, you use both double quotes, single quotes, or triple quotes to depict a string. So anything we display, either we are displaying a normal string or we are displaying a variable. So now I am displaying a normal string. So display Asuma Ronald, that is my name. Then is that your address? How do you display your address? So I start with the same keyword display. The question says we should only display. So it didn't say we should do any other thing. Display. Is that your address? Your address with city. So where do I live? I live at IPT, comma Kumasi. Let me say Kumasi Kumasi Tanoso. IPT Kumasi Tanoso. Is that with state and zip? What is my state? Let me say Ashanti. Ashanti, then the zip. Let me say 00233. Sorry. This is my this is my this is my address. Then it says that I should display my telephone number also. So I start with display, then telephone number. The telephone number is 05467832445. Let me check. 333. Okay. So this is my telephone number. So this is my telephone number. So the next thing to display is my college major, the college major. So what did I majored in college? So I start with the same keyword display. What am I displaying? I am displaying, let me say, networking. So this is my college major. Is that an algorithm begins and it ends? So a pseudocode will also begin and it has to what? To end. So when I'm done, then I end the program. I end the program telling the computer that the program begins from here, then it ends where? From here. So it is a step by step. So when you are using a normal or a real ID, you will see something like one for statement one, you see something like two, you see something like three, you see something like four, you see something like five, then this is six. So in this short program that I've written, meaning that I am having six statements, and these six statements are doing what? Uh, uh, instructions for executing this program. So the display is the keyword to show something. So here I began my program and I displayed something. Said that display your name. So I display in quotes my name. Then is that that's your address. So I displayed again and in quotes my address. I displayed again my telephone number. They are also in quotes. Then my college major also in quotes. Then I ended the program. When you start the program with begin and you fail to end or you forget to end, it is a wrong pseudocode. It is a wrong pseudocode. So you begin, then you do what? Then you end. Okay. So this is it for this one. So in this question, it has not asked you anything about input. Does not ask you anything about input. That design a program that displays the following information. So the keyword over here is what? Is display. It displays the following information. So display, and I am displaying. That is how I do what? I display. So the keyword display. My name comes, display. My address, display. Telephone number, display, networking. So at the end of this program, when these commands are executed, you are not going to see display this. You are going to see my name. You are going to see IPT, Kumasi and also Ashanti, my zip. Then you are going to see my telephone number, as well as you are going to see networking. You are not going to see anything like end, display, or begin. These are the things that you are doing what you are going to see. Okay, so this is a simple pseudocode to display your information. Okay, I think I have another question over here. Have sales prediction. Sales prediction. So for sales prediction, the program says that a company has determined that its annual profit is typically 23% of the total sales. Its annual profit is 33% of the total sales, meaning that when we take the total sales, this is the formula. The total sales is then what? Multiplied by 23%. So 23%, then we get what? The annual sale. Then we get the annual sales. As a company has determined that its annual profit is typically 23% of the total sales. So here is the question. We have to design a program that asks the user to enter a projected amount of total sales. So the program is supposed to ask the user to enter the total sales. Then we display the profit that will be made from the amount. Okay, so here is the case that let us check the formula again. This becomes the formula. So the annual profit is what? The annual profit is equal to the total sales multiplied by what? 23%. So the annual profit is equal to the total sales multiplied by 23%. So how do we write this program? So in this program, you determine your outputs and you determine your what? Your inputs. You determine your outputs and you determine your input. So when we look at this formula, we can see that this is what the user is asking for, the annual profit. So we are going to write the program that after the program is done executing or execution, it is going to display the annual profit. But what are we going to feed the program with? So the question is that we should ask the user to enter a projected total sales. So a projected amount is the total sales. Then we multiply the total sales by the 23%. The 23% is a constant that we know. We know that it is 23%, but we don't know the exact amount the user is what going to type. So here is the case that when we write the program, we ask for the projected amount from the user. We multiply the user's input by the constant rate that we know, which is 23%, so that we get the annual profit of the total sales being entered. So since we are going to take something from the user, then we are going to create a variable that will store what we are going to take from the user. So total sales is a variable that will hold what we are going to take from the user. Then the annual profit becomes what will store the results so that we can display the results. So how do I begin this program? So I begin this program with the keyword begin. With the keyword begin, then I continue. What do? I declare my variables. So declare, what am I declaring? I will declare total sales is a number, and the total sales is, since it is an amount which is a money, then I will declare total sales as what? As real. So total sales real becomes my variable data type. So it becomes my data type. Then total sales, total sales. So real, declare real total sales, declare real total sales. So when you look at total sales, it does not have a space. So some of the rules in defining a variable name is that the variable name should not have what? Should not have a space. Two, it shouldn't start with a number. Three, punctuation characters should be what? Should be avoided. So total sales, no space. So total, then sales, all together create one variable. The moment I put a space over here, it gives me an error. The whole program will turn into an error. So total sales, they should all be together. Then I am going to declare annual profit. So I declare annual profit. So annual, then profit. Okay, so now I've declared real annual profit. Real annual profit. So what do? Before we take something from a user, we need to ask the user, for the user to know what exactly he or she is supposed to enter. So supposing you are filling an online form, and on the form there is nothing, it's a blank, let's say a blank file with nothing. What are you going to enter? Because you don't know what to input, you don't know what to enter. So there should be something that prompts the user, for the user to know what to enter. So because of that, then we display a question to the user, or we display a prompt to the user. So I start with the keyword display. So what should the user enter? I will tell the user, or I will prompt the user to input, or let me say enter um the projected enter the projected total sale. So display enter the projected sales in quotes. So in quotes, enter the projected sales, because enter the projected sales is what? This is a string. So it should be in a quote. Then after I've asked the user to enter something, I have to give the user a platform for the user to enter something. So I start with the keyword input. So input. Then what am I going to input? I am going to input total sales. So I will call the total sales variable total sales variable, so that whatever thing the user enters will be stored in the total sales variable. So this is what I have declared, total sales. So you cannot input something into a variable which is not declared, and whatever variable you use in the input statement should be the same as the variable you declared at the beginning of the program. When they are two different things, let's say if there is an underscore over here, mean that this is different from this variable, and it's going to give me an error. So when these commands are being written in the actual language and they are being executed by the program, by the computer is going to tell you, the compiler is going to tell you that you have used an undeclared or undefined what variable. So whatever variable you call at the input should be the same variable you declared at the beginning of the course. So input total sales. Okay, so now I've asked the user to enter the projected sales, and I've given the user an avenue to what, to enter the total sales. So after the total sales is being inputted or received, then we are going to set, what, annual profit equal to, we are going to set annual profit equal to what the user entered, that is total sales. Then we multiply it by what, by 0.23. You multiply it by 0.23. Mind you, there is nothing like 23% found on the keyboard. The computer doesn't recognize 23%. If you write something like 23% instead of 0.23, then the computer is going to take it as you are dividing 23 by a number and you are looking forward to see its remainder. You get me? So the percentage sign over here is used as a modulo sign in computing. It is not a percentage sign again, it is a modulus sign. So 23% is now written 0. What, 0.23. So when you multiply the total sales by 0.23, you get the annual profit. So now whatever result we are going to get here will be assigned into annual profit, will be assigned or stored into annual profit. So the program says that we should display the profit to the user. So what do we do? So we display. So display, let me say, the annual profit is, then I give a small space, then my quotes come, then comma, I call this variable, annual profit. Then I end my program. So you see, so the program starts with what? Begin. The program starts with begin. Then I declared real total sales. Total sales is going to take the input from the user. It's going to store the input from the user. Then I declared, on the third statement, I declared real annual profit. So annual profit is what is going to store the final results from the user. Then on the fourth statement, I displayed something to the user. So display enter the projected total sales. So that is what the user is going to see on his or her monitor screen so that he or she will know what he is supposed to enter. Then on the fifth statement, I received an input from the user and I stored the input into what? Total sales. I stored the input into total sales. Then on the sixth statement, this is what I did. I set annual profits to total sales multiplied by 0.23. So 0.23 is a constant that we know. So supposing we didn't know 0.23, then we were going to declare a variable that will hold the rate which a user will input. Now we know, so we put the actual number over there. So total sales multiplied by 0.23, and we use the assignment operator to assign the result of this into what? Into annual profit. Into annual profit. To annual profit. Okay, then on the seventh statement, what did I do? Then I displayed the result to the user. So display the annual profit is what? Is annual profit. So the annual profit, this is a quotation mark, this is a quotation mark, symbolizing that this is what is a string. The comma over here is what we call the concatenating symbol. So this punctuation, this comma punctuation over here is to concat. Concat is the same as addition, to add something. So I have concatenated this string to the annual profit. So I have joined a string with what? A variable. So it is very necessary for the comma to come. If you omit the comma, meaning that the whole code is an what? Is an error. Becomes an error. So you begin, then you do what? You end. So this is the whole code. You begin, you end, you declare your variables, then you display something to the user for the user to know what to enter. Then you take the input. So you cannot take input without displaying something to the user. You cannot take input without displaying something to what? To the user. Then I set the annual profit to this, and that then afterwards I displayed my annual profit. So this is it for question 2. So sales prediction. A company has determined that annual profit is typically 23% of the total sales. So it's that design a program that asks the user to enter the projected amount of total sales, then display the profit that will be made from the amount. So this is the solution for this program. So this is the solution for this program. Okay, so we will solve the rest of the questions in the next session. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.